here today. I just woke up like this. I guess it's because yesterday I kind of um how do you even say that? Like with the dryer, I did like that. So I guess it stood up for a while while I was asleep, but now it's like crazy. It just does whatever it wants. Oh well, I guess that's cool though. I really like my hair. All right. I don't know where Jitendra is. He was just here, and then he left. But I think he will be right back. In the meantime, oh, I think he's coming. Yeah. Hey.
Hello, hi, I'm back. I have some connection issue, so I fix it. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. We're already live and we are getting people already. Hi, Suresh. Hey. So I guess we are live now. Um, I have some news just in case some of you were not aware before. August, Flex Gateway 110 was released, so the steps to install changed. Also, MuleSoft RPA was publicly released, and Cloud Hub 2.0 was also released, which is awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. I haven't tried it myself yet, but as soon as I get access or Akshara gets access, one of us is gonna try it out in a live stream so you can all see how it works. Alrighty, hello, hello. Where are you all based on? What time is it for you? Right now it's 10:32 a.m. for me. I am in Eastern Canada, near Toronto, basically. Alrighty. Oh, it's kind of slower today. I guess that's fine. It's August, almost September. You're starting to feel the cold, at least here in Canada. So you can get like snuggly. Hey Jitendra, how are you? You're on mute, I think.
Oh, sorry. Thanks. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, someone is feeling the hype for Cloud Hub 2.0. Yay. Yeah, awesome. Have you tried it, Jitendra?
Yeah, I have tried. I have already explored all the features of Cloud Up 2.0, and already I have published around 4 or 5 videos on same.
Wow. Okay, there you go. You can go check out Jitendra's channel. He will have it for sure. Alrighty. Hey, Edgar. Okay, so I guess we can get started then.
Sure. I will just share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Just let me know once you can see my screen.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. Thank you. So let me start. So I will just give some introduction about me. So my name is Jitendra Bafna, and I am a senior solution architect working at a EPAM Systems, and I have overall 14 plus years of experience in the integration and the APIs technology, and like I'm working on the MuleSoft from last 6 7 years basically. Okay, and like I'm a MuleSoft ambassador. Currently, I'm leading 4 meetup groups, and also like I'm all Mule certified. So that's all about me, and I will just discuss about the topic what we will going to focus on today. So like we will going to set up a Flex Gateway as a Kubernetes Ingress controller, and I will going to use a mini cube. A mini cube is nothing; it's a mini version of your Kubernetes. So you can quickly set up a mini cube on your machine or on your laptop. It like you can do it just set up in the 10 15 minutes on your machine. Basically, it doesn't take much of the time. So you have a documentation available on the internet. Just you have to just follow download a mini cube quickly, and you can just set up. Let me show that also the documentation. So here like we got all the steps like for installing. This is not right documentation. Let me open this one. Okay. here like you can follow the steps basically, like for installing the minikube you require either a Docker desktop, you may require Oracle VirtualBox. So there are few softwares you require for setting up a minikube, but you don't require all the, either you require Oracle VirtualBox or either you require the Docker desktop. Okay, so let me just close everything and I can quickly start with a demonstration part. So, uh, if you know, recently MuleSoft has introduced something called a Flex Gateway. The main purpose of the Flex Gateway is to manage, govern, secure, and engage your API written in any technology. Basically, it's a technology agnostic. It doesn't matter where is your API located. It can be on any public cloud or private cloud, or it can be located on your on-premise or customer hosted, basically, or it can be running on any Docker container, or it can be running on the Kubernetes. So you can apply, you can like enable the Flex Gateway for any APIs basically. Apart from that, it also provide the flexibility that your, like it can
Is it cutting
basically
off
you can
just
apply
for
a Flex
me?
Gateway on any kind of architecture. It a background about the Flex Gateway. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know if it's just
Hello.
cutting off for me or if it's for everyone, but it like sometimes it's cutting off a little bit, but that's fine. You can continue. I
Yeah,
can hear you now.
let me check. Yeah, I have a connection now, so maybe. Yeah. So so this is a Flex Gateway. You can see, you can go to Runtime Manager, you can find the Flex Gateway within your Runtime Manager, and I can go to my Flex Gateway. Just a minute, let me refresh it. It's taking time for page to come, so let's wait. And guy, this like this demo will be interesting. Like we're going to see a lot of things, like how we can enable the multiple ports within your Kubernetes, and then how we can deploy a multiple application within your Kubernetes Ingress controller. So let me show that. I'm just refreshing the page. Page is not opening. Yeah, it's come now. So I think let me remove this particular gateway. Okay, so let me just delete this quickly. Otherwise, like let me remove everything. So like I can quickly uninstall this particular Flex Gateway. Then I can show it, fresh one.
Yes, it's better to do everything from scratch so everyone can see how to
Yeah,
do it. Thank you.
yeah, this is one. So let me also uninstall. Let me go. Let me open the Chrome. I know the command, but still I will copy. Otherwise, I don't do the mistake. So you have a commands, right? So you can go to MuleSoft documentation. So you can learn the uninstall of the Flex Gateway also.
Interesting. I thought you could just remove it and that was it.
Yeah, because like I want to remove all the services which has been created as a part of the Flex Gateway. Like it will, otherwise it will not install. Like I have created some Ingress and all those things, right? I want to delete those things. Otherwise, I will just use my command cmd kubectl kubectl delete name space gateway. Okay, and also I have one more command. I can get the. Okay, let me refresh it. Okay, but that's fine. Like, so we have deleted the namespace. That will be enough. So I can quickly start with demo part. I will go back to my runtime manager. I will go to Flex Gateway. Okay, I will just delete it from here. So you can see the Flex Gateway is disconnected. I will just delete it. Okay, so now I will just say add gateway, and here you have an option to select three operating system, like one of the three operating system. It can be Linux, Docker, or Kubernetes. In our case, we will go with the Kubernetes. The first step, you have to pull a Docker image of your Flex gateway. The latest version is 1.1.0. So let me copy this, and in my case I have already done that, but still let I will show you how to execute this command. And currently a Docker desktop is running on my laptop, right? So that's why I'm executing this particular command. So it should happen fastly. So if you like, in my case, it's showing your image is already up to date because I have already installed. In your case, if it's not already pulled, right, it may take few minutes for completely downloading this particular image, and then finally you can use this command docker images, and it will list down all the images. And this is my images, MuleSoft slash Flex Gateway 1.1.0. And the next thing what I can you can go to your Docker desktop also, and you can validate your image, so you can see it here also, right? So we have completed our first step where we have pulled the Flex Gateway image. Now second step. So as you know, the Flex Gateway can be registered in the two ways. One is a connected mode, and other is a local mode. In connected mode, your Flex Gateway instance will get registered on the Anypoint platform, and you can manage your Flex Gateway from Anypoint platform. You can apply policy, you can publish your API from Anypoint platform. In case of local mode, your Flex Gateway will not register in the Anypoint platform, right? Your Flex Gateway, you have to manage your Flex Gateway using YAML descriptor files, right? Now I will just go to the second step. Just I will open a notepad and just paste it here. You can see by default it is using the authentication mode, that is the auth token. So you don't have to generate a token. When you take the steps from the Anypoint platform, it generates the token for you automatically. Like, it support the three kind of authentication. One is like Anypoint platform username and the password, and the second is like auth connected app, and third is the auth token. Okay, now what I have to do, so just let me maximize this. I have to give a gateway name first. So I will say mule twitch demo. Okay, so that will be some unique name I need to give, and I will bring this into a single line because I am running this command on the command prompt. I will just bring everything into a single line. Okay, then you have to give a path. So if you are using this particular command on the Linux or cell, right, like, you don't have to change this pwd, you can keep same. It means it's a current path. So the place where you are running this command, right, at that place it will create a registration.yaml file. In my case, I will going to use some path. I already have a one path, so I can use that path. So I have a Flex Gateway Kubernetes. I will remove this registration.yaml. This is old file. I will copy this, and I will just update the path. I will just copy this command, and I will execute this command here. Let's see. So it start registration. Please be patient. I hope you can hear me now properly, right, Alex? So there is a no delay in the voice, right?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. So let's wait while it's registration. So you can see the registration YAML file has been created. Okay. So you can see this has been successfully completed. Now what you have to verify, first thing, make sure this registration.yaml is has been created. Then you can go to your Anypoint platform, and like you can see the mule twitch demo has the flex gateway has been registered in your Anypoint platform, but this is in the disconnected state, right? I will going to show you like how you can make this in connected state. The first thing, we have to create the instance of this particular flex gateway or replicas of this flex gateway. So let's, like, we have completed with our first step where we have registered the flex gateway in the Anypoint platform. Now I will again go back to Kubernetes. Then you need to have a something called Helm. So Helm is basically it provide us to like configure the attributes for your flex gateway basically, right? It's kind of, we sometimes it's called as a Helm chart options. So it provide the option where you can enable auto scaling, like you can create the namespaces in your, like, Kubernetes, and you can just create the replicas. So this is some utility. So I have already downloaded this utility on my machine. So you can see helm.exe on my Windows machine. You can go to internet, you can find that basically. So I will copy this command. The first thing, I have to add the repo, a flex gateway repo on the helm. So it should not take that much of time. Let's wait. Then I will copy this second command also. Yeah. So in my case, helm is already exists, so it will not going to add because I keep on installing FlexGate on my machine, so that's why it's already added. So in your case, you will see the it has been successfully created, like, in your console. So let me do that. Helm repo up. So it will try to start your helm repository till it's starting. So I can copy this particular command. So now we are trying to create a replicas basically, or we are trying to register ingress basically for your flex gateway. So let me copy this command. Okay, and here, like, you have to, like, just you just run as it is basically. I will going to show other options later. So here you can see it try to create a gateway, and it's saying I want to create a namespace, and I want to install all this particular thing in my this particular gateway namespace, and I want to, like, set file which is registration.yaml, which we have created just now. Copy this command. Let me check whether helm is started. Yeah, you can see this you will get this particular response, happy helming basically. Once you get this response, it means you have successfully, initialized your helm repo. The next thing, I will go back to my place where registration.yaml is created. We'll just run this command, enter. So it will try to ingress, install the ingress. Sometime what happened, like, this particular command get timeout, but you need to verify whether it has been the flex gateway has been started here or not. You can keep on checking. Sometimes this command get timeout here basically, and this not sometime I have noticed for many times basically, but it will create a replicas here, and I will show the other way also how we can check it. So first, let we can see this particular flex gateway coming in the start state. Any question? All
Nope,
right.
not yet.
The first time it takes time.
So you're just waiting for the gateway to start, right?
Yeah. So because, like, it's try to create a ingress basically, right? It doesn't exist because we have deleted it everything, right? So it try to install. So once it get installed, it will create one replica and it will be in the connected state. So I'm just waiting for it. Yeah, you can see one replica has been successfully created. and now it's in connected state basically, right? So you can see it here. So apart from that, there's other way you can check. So if it's you are using minikube, you can execute this command minikube dashboard. Until that, I will just know. Yeah, it will open the dashboard, and in the dashboard you will see the gateway namespace. You can click on this gateway namespace, and like you can see, your replicas, like your one replica is being created. You can see that. So with ingress port you can see the replica set, and ingress load balance, everything is there basically. So it has been like, if you see everything green here, so it means everything is successful, so let me click here. Today bit Anypoint platform is bit slow, seems like. Yeah. So you can see one replica has been created. We will going to see how we can create a multiple replicas. So basically, like in case if you want to enable high availability, scaling, or high performance, like you can create the multiple replicas. Also, we will see how we can achieve the auto scaling. So before that, like first we focus on like exposing the API. So here I have few APIs. Let me show that. So I have like employee API. I have a order API. These two APIs written in the MuleSoft. Then I have a Node.js API also, right? So these APIs are running on my Docker container on three separate Docker containers, and one is on 9000 port, one is on 9002 port, and one is on 9003 port. Let me grab the IP address also, so I can just stop this command basically, like, or let it keep it, because mostly it get timeout. I config. Let me get the IP also. Also, I will be requiring the IP. Okay. So I will go to my Anypoint platform, and next step I will try to publish the API. I will say add API. Before that, I want to show you there's a one more command that can be used to verify whether your ingress is running or not. Minikube, you can say service list minus n gateway. Okay, so this command will give like your ingress is running on port 80 as well as on port 443, and this is the private URL. You cannot access this URL from your laptop. You have to enter into your Minikube container and you can access it. But if you want to access from outside, I will show you how we can do that. So you can see your ingress has been successfully created. Ingress is nothing; it's an entry point for your Flex gateway. Okay, now I'm trying to expose the API. So what happened, I have selected add API. Here you have to select the runtime, Flex gateway, Mule gateway, or service mesh. In this case I will select the Flex gateway. It will list down all the Flex gateway, doesn't matter whether it's a connected state or disconnected state, but it will give you option, or it will just enable those Flex gateway only which is in the connected state. So right now I will select this option. I will say next. I will create a new API. I will say employee which API. Okay, then I can select the asset type HTTP API, because I don't have a background RAML or Open API specification. I'm just publishing without RAML and Open API spec. So next. Okay, so let it be client provider. So here I have to give a implementation URI. So what will we do? My implementation URI. So I have to provide it. So I have already copied my that sorry IP address and the port. I have to expose my employee API. My employee API is running on port 9000. So I can give 9000 slash. Right. I can go to advanced option. I will select 8 HTTP. Currently I have only port 80. Right. So as you see, it's only enabled on port 80. For 443 we need to install the certificates and all those things. I will show you later if time permits. So I will use 80 port, and next. Save and deployed. So let me directly browse http 9000 slash ep slash employees. This is not my Flex gateway URL. This is just I'm trying to access directly using my container basically, right? But I want to access using a Flex gateway. So also I will apply one policy to this particular API. So basically I want a security policy. If I can see basic authentication, next, and I can say admin. Okay, so I have done this, and now I want to access this API. How can I do? I can say minikube service ingress minus n gateway. It will give me a tunnel URL, so you can make use of those tunnel URL to access your API from outside the minikube. I copied this, then I can say API slash employees. It will ask me for the username and password, and I got the successful response. Right, so what we have seen, so how to install a flex gateway on as a the Kubernetes ingress controller, then how to publish your APIs on the flex gateway, yeah, like running as a Kubernetes ingress controller, then how to apply the policy. Now the problem arises, like now I want to expose the second API on the same flex gateway. How can I do that? Because I already use my port 80 for one of the API, right? And like I cannot deploy a second API on port 80. It will give the error like your port is already bind with other API. How can I fix that issue? Right, so you have to go to your ingress service, you have to edit your ingress service file, and you have to add extra ports there. And now I don't want my employee API also running on port 80. I want to run my employee API in port 8081. How can I change this, all these things? Like I want to change this on 8081. How can I do that? So here I want to change this to 8081. So let me show that also. So that is the interesting thing, like generally when you will working on your project, right, you will generally get this requirement. I don't want to run my API on port 80, I want to run on 8081. And if I want to install the multiple API, I want to like open the multiple ports. So I will copy this command. So I'm trying to edit my ingress service file. So if you execute this particular command, it will open one file.
Hey, Jitendra, quickly.
Yeah.
Someone is asking what is the difference between the previous one that you did with Docker and this one with Kubernetes?
See, it's a different installation options basically, right? So like let's consider like some of the organization supports they might be having the Kubernetes already there within their organization, right? And like why they will go set up the dockers and everything again, right? So they can just set up the like this particular RTA this particular like sorry flex gateway on your Kubernetes basically, right? It, see, in case of like performance or in case of installation things, it's not like like it's a almost same, like in the case of architecture is almost same. It depends like what kind of software your organization support, like so like your organization support doesn't have a Docker and Kubernetes software installed, then you have a third option also. You can use that as a Linux service. When it come to routing and when it come to applying policy, everything remains same. But it depends like what is your organization requirement, what kind of tools, what kind of software your organization support, and all like what kind of software is already exists within your organization. It different, right? So let's consider I recently come across one of the requirement. So my organization is already running a runtime fabric manager on elastic Kubernetes service, and now they want to set up a flex gateway, right? So why I will ask them to set up my flex gateway on the Docker container? Because they have already have a EKS exist, right? So we have set up the flex gateway on the EKS basically. You got the answer, right? So like so like from performance perspective, I don't see any changes will be happen. So it's just depending on what kind of tools and like softwares are available within your organization. So now this particular, like if you see this particular ingress file has been open. If you see in this particular ingress file, you have just have a port 480 and 443. Now I need to open port 48081. Copy this, just enter, paste it, just remove this node port. This will be automatically generated once you save the file. Just remove the protocol, just remove the target port, and I will just give this name. Like you can give some like name through which you can recognize which API has been published to this particular port. I will say employee API. I will going to publish employee API and port 8081. I will open this. Now I want to open one more port which is 8082 for other purpose for order API. I will say 8082. I want one more which is health API. Okay, I will say 8083. I will save this file, close this. You will see the service ingress has been edited. Now you want to see whether the listener for this particular port has been created on your ingress or not. So you can use this mini cube. service list minus n gateway. So here you can see the listener has been created. For health API, this is the listener. For order API, this is the listener. For employee API, this is the listener. For port 443, this is the listener. For port 80, this is the listener. So what we have done to enable or to open more port on your Ingress. So I have edited a service Ingress service file using this particular command kubectl minus n gateway edit svc. Svc means service Ingress. Right? I have added those port. Let me edit it again. So now you can see, as I mentioned, the target port, protocol, node port, that will be taken care automatically. We just added a port and the name. The rest of the thing will be taken care automatically, right? So now we have done this. Now let me go back to my employee API. Just change the port 8081. Save and apply. Okay. So meanwhile, I will just publish my order API also. I will copy this URL and I will going to show you my order API is running on 9002. So let me browse the order API also. API slash orders. Let me change the port to 9002. You got a orders response also, right? So let me copy this URL. Go back to my Anypoint platform, add API. I will say add new API. I will select Flex Gateway. I will select this Mule Tuch demo. Next, then I will say create new API and I will say order Twitch API and I will say HTTP API. The next, okay, I'll give a implementation URI. So that's the important thing. And the second important thing, we have to give a port 8082. So right now I have opened the second port, which is 8082. So rest of the thing you don't have to worry. You can keep as it is. Just save and deploy it. I can go to policies. I can apply whatever policies I want. So I will go to security policies and I can apply authentication policy next. I can give a username, password. Just apply. Okay. So now I want to access this. So what you can do. So again, I will just try to get a tunnel URL. So minikube service ingress minus n gateway minus URL. Okay. So I think the order API is fourth. So I will pick the fourth URL. We will see like how do we have a host and everything under single URL. We will going to see that also. So let me say API slash orders. It will prompt me for the username and password. You got a order response and my like employees API, which is also deployed on port 8081. So it is on port running. It's listening on port 52750. It will prompt me for username and password. I got this particular response. Now let me expose a third API also in same way. So that is nothing health API. I will just quickly select those things. Next, create new API. I can say health which API. Then I can say HTTP API. Next, let me copy the URL. It's 9003. I can show that you. So it's running on 9003 health API. That is the Node.js API. Okay, so I can say HTTP. Remove this 9003. Rest of the things you can remain same. Just change the port 8083. Next, save and deploy. Okay, so I can go to policies. I will apply one policy to this. Let me go to security policy. Next, let me pick the fifth URL. Hopefully this will be working. This keep on changing. I can say health. Yeah, it will prompt me for username password. So I got a health response. So that is how you can expose a multiple APIs to your Flex Gateway running as a Kubernetes Ingress controller. Any question till now?
Not yet.
Okay. Now I will going to show how you can set up a multiple replicas. So now let's consider like if you want to enable the high availability mode for your Flex Gateway, or like you want to scale your Flex Gateway. So how you can set up a multiple replicas, right? So what I will do, let me go back to my Flex Gateway. I will go here and sorry, go back. I will go to add gateway, just go to Kubernetes and copy this last command. Just control V and just so I will just remove this particular option like create namespace. And before that I want to show you like where you can find all the attributes. So let me I have a Chrome. Let me show you what are the different options provided by Helm. So Flex Gateway, Kubernetes, Ingress, controller. Yeah, it might be here. Hopefully this time the documentation will open. Till it's opening, so I can just make the command. So you can just remove like helm minus gateway upgrade minus iv8. So you just remove that create namespace when you are executing, and whenever you want to upgrade your Flex Gateway, right, remove that create namespace. When you are executing this command for the second time, remove that create namespace, because it will try to create the namespace again and your command will fail because it will say your command is exist. So now I want to set a replica. I can say set, and you can pass a attribute called replica count. In this case I want two replicas. Copy this, just execute this command somewhere. Let me maximize and let me cls, just say enter. So let's wait, let me check whether my document is open. I don't know why this document is opening like this. Let me try a different browser. Let me check whether two replicas is created. Not yet. Okay, I execute this command at the wrong place because I want to execute this command from place where I have this registration.yaml file. Let me do that. That's fine. I know the commands, so let's wait. It takes some time for communication. And how this particular command knows I have to communicate with this particular Flex Gateway? It got disconnected, so no worries. It will create new two replicas. So here all the information available, or authentication detail and where you have to communicate. And here you can see now three replicas. One will be disabled, and it will create a two new replicas. So now we have a multiple replicas, right? So now you have seen how we can enable a multiple replicas for your Flex Gateway. Right now let me show other thing. I want to enable the auto scaling. So for enabling the auto scaling, you can say auto scaling dot enabled true. This is the command. I think I passed the attribute properly. Not sure. Auto scaling dot enable true. It should be right. Okay, not this one. I have to execute this command again from let me wait. Let this particular commands to complete. I am like this particular command goes, into wait state. So what I can do other way, I will try to remove this wait also. So it will not wait. Let me go back to my this particular registration dot. So I'm trying to do the auto scaling. What will happen when I just do the auto scaling dot enable? So it will try to keep a minimum of two replicas. Okay, it can go maximum up to 11 replicas, right, when you enable the auto scaling. So like and each replica of size zero point 0.5 cores basically. So it will take zero point 0.5 of CPU. You can change that if you want zero point 0.1 zero point 0.2, you can change that. We have a memory size attribute. You can see like we have a memory size attribute. So let me check the command. You can make use okay, the another operation is still in progress. Let me stop this. Okay, let me check on my documentation. I have one documentation. Let me check. Let's wait. Now it's got disconnected. No, or everything is got disconnected. So you will see like two more replica will be created. So let me go back to. I was just checking the commands basically because the documentation is not opening. So might be having something here.
It's great when you know you already documented that, so you can just go back to your own
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah, because MuleSoft documentation is not opening today, right? So I've set this particular attribute well. So I just checking auto scaling enabled. Yeah, I've set it properly because sometimes what happens, the S can be capital, right? So we forget it, right? So you can see like it created. It will create more replicas basically. So when you enable the auto scaling, by default it will create two replicas. Let me check whether I've set it properly again. Scaling dot enabled. Where is my documentation? Auto scaling dot enable. Yeah, now what I will do, so I will change more properties. Let's play with some more properties. I'm just checking like if we get one more replica as here, then let me copy other properties also from here. So mean and like max replicas. I will just enable like auto scaling with mean and max replicas. So let me do that. So I will say I want minimum of four replicas, right, and maximum of 8 replicas. So when so by default it will never create the 8 replicas, it will create a 4 replicas. So it can go up to 8 replicas, like if your CPU utilization is more than 50%. In case like you can definitely set a higher value also, so you have a properties for that also. So just checking auto scaling, like let me go back. So you can see 2 replicas has came. Now let me execute this particular command also. Let's see how it works. Yeah, you can see this time our command got a successful response. We are lucky. Let me do one more. Let's see what happens here. So you will see, and also other command, you have a something called, you can execute one more command. So you can say minikube dashboard. Let's see what is happening here. You will see more replicas. So I will just select the gateway. And here also you can see the number of replicas. See, try to create a new replica. So minimum of four, right? So you can see the four replicas will be there. It will like 1 2 3 4, it will just make sure every time there is a 4 replica is in the connected state, so that state is known as a desired state, right? And it can go up to 8 replicas in case of your CPU utilization or memory utilization is the higher. So you can set those kind of properties. So like I have already shown the command how you can do that. And let me go back to my Anypoint platform. Here you can see you have a minimum of 4 replicas. So every time it will keep minimum of 4 replicas. In case you are not passing min replicas and the max replicas, when you enable the auto scaling was so true, it will keep minimum of 2 replicas, and maximum it can go up to 11 replicas. And each replica by default of zero point 0.5 cores, basically it will take zero point 0.5 cores of your CPU, correct? Now the other very important and very tough part I will going to showcase you. It's a bit technical, but yeah, I will going to show you. Okay. So now what we have seen, we have like deployed application. Those application are running on the different port, and to access those application we require the different URL. Is there any possibility I can host that application under the single domain? Definitely we can do that. How? We will going to set up a Ingress load balancer in the front of your Ingress controller. So for that we need to set up the Ingress. So I will just say this, I will just try to run this particular command. A Minikube add-ons enabled Ingress, basically. So I will just execute this command. So it will try to add your, it will try to enable the Ingress. So Ingress is enabled on your machine. Then you can see use this particular command to check. So you can see all this port has been like either you will see in completed or running state. So your Ingress has been set up. Now let me do one more thing. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to host all your API under the single domain. Okay. So let me close all this dashboard. I need to open the dashboard again, and I can say Minikube dashboard. Let's wait while it's opening. So now we have set up the Ingress, and now how we can apply this Ingress in the front of your Ingress which is running in the gateway or in the front of your APIs. I will going to showcase that. It's not simple, but we have to follow that. It will open now. Hopefully, see, you can see all fours are in connected state. And here I will show the gateway first. You will see the running 4, it will keep 4, right? And you can see there will be 4 replica sets, everything will be 4. Now let me show nginx ingress also. If you see this nginx, you will see everything is success, like everything is green. Doesn't matter it's dark green or light green, but green is green, like everything is successful. Okay. So now what we have to do, we have to create one ingress YAML file. So this is my ingress YAML file. You have to create like this. So you have to mention this API version. You can pick this from ready-made from anywhere. You have to just say kind ingress. You have to pass this annotation. So you are saying what kind of nginx class or nginx load balance or ingress load balancer you are using, that is nginx. And what is the backend protocol? That will be the http, because our application is running on http, right? And this is redirect target and SSL redirect. Yeah, there can be, right? So these are some metadata you can copy as it is. The things change here. Specs here you have to define the rule. So first rule here I'm defining, this should be my domain. So under this domain I will host all my APIs. The first API I'm hosting, that is employees APIs, right? So 8081. So now what will happen whenever I will send the request, how this file will come to know whether I have to execute this rule or other rule. We can write we will see how many, we will write a multiple rule. So what I'm doing in the path, I'm defining employees API, and after employees there can be anything. So now what we will do, we will try to pass employees API in the path also, application name in the path, so the redirection can be easily identify using this particular nginx ingress, right? So here I'm saying my backend API is running on port 8081. This is the path, employees API or anything can come after this employee API. This is this a wildcard. Then name, your name. What is your name? Your name of your service, that is Ingress only. We have seen that, right? So let me show you it again. So how can you find the service name? Minikube service list minus n gateway. So this is the ingress. This is your service name. Okay. So I will just save this file. Let me save this file. Okay. And this is our domain. Okay. And I want to save this file. I already saved it, right? So let me minimize everything. Let me close also a lot of things like we don't require everything. And this is my ingress file. I will just say, I will just copy the path cmd, will say cd. Then I just see what command I'm applying. Kubectl apply minus f. I will say ingress tab. It's ingress.yaml. Then where you have to apply. I want to apply in namespace gateway. So because right because my ingress is running in the namespace gateway, just say enter. Your ingress file has been created. You can see that, right? Your ingress file has been created. Now you can execute one more command to check whether it has been executed or not. So you can just or you can simply say minikube service ingress minus n gateway. Yeah, that is fine. So now like we have applied this particular file and you can see that now we will try to access the API using this particular domain. So where is my domain? Let me copy this MuleSoft and I will use the curl command so to make you more understand. So you can say curl, I can say http colon, and now I have to pass the employees APIs. So I have to tell Ingress which rule needs to be executed. So I have to pass this employees API, right? Let me check. It's employees API. Then I have to pass the resource path, which is employees, and I have to pass the username, the password, admin. Copy. I will just log into my Minikube. Just execute. We got a successful response from that particular domain. Now I want to expose my order API also, right? So how can we do that? Simple. It's very simple. Just copy this backend, enter. Just go at the end. Make sure your indentation is right. I will just change this to the orders. And on what port my orders is listening? 8082. Save it. Let me execute this command again. Where do I have executed? Yeah, I have executed here. No. Okay, I have closed it. Okay, so let me minimize everything. I'll just say CMD. I will say kubectl, right? Apply minus app ingress minus n gateway. Okay, ingress has been configured. Now I will just change this to orders. So I will just say orders. It's admin only, and I just have to change this to orders. Have I changed the port number? Yes. You got a response from the orders also. Now I will just try to expose the third API, which is health API, right? And port 8083. Save this file. Just execute. Right. I will go to CURL again, and now I will just remove all this thing. I will say health API slash. Just go there So you got a health API. So that is how like you can host your APIs, under this particular load balance. So this is the only process. Even you are running on your customer side or on your, on your EKS, you have to create this file and you have to apply it for applying any NGINX load balance or or application load balancer. So NGINX is nothing; it's an application load balancer. You have to follow that. And right now, yeah, I can see there's a limitation. Basically, you need to have a separate port and separate rule for each and every API published to the any API manager or Flex gateway. And also every time whenever we want to like add or publish new API to Flex gateway, we have to update this particular file, and we have to update the service ingress file for enabling the port numbers. Or either what you can do, you can just keep lot of ports enabled all at a one time, a series of port in that particular file, and you can keep on deploying that. Then you don't have to update that service.ingress file, but this file needs to be updated, like if you want to host all your API and do the single domain right now. Yeah, so that is all about setting up the Flex gateway on your Ingress as a Kubernetes Ingress control. Any question, like I can take it now.
I don't see any questions yet. I feel like everything is just it's a lot, and if people don't really know about Kubernetes, maybe there are not any questions. Like for example, me, I don't really have any question because I'm not really familiar with Kubernetes, so I'm just lost
Yeah,
all the way.
so that's why I mentioned, right? So like this will be bit tough, like because you need to have some background of Kubernetes. Like initial steps, like we can copy from the mules of that particular site, right? Flex gateway. But when we come to like creating load balance, it's our customer responsibility, it's not mules of responsibility, right? So MuleSoft will give you a Flex gateway. How do you want to manage the port, and how do you want to manage your application URLs, how you want to host your application and do single domain. That comes under the customer responsibility, right? So yeah, so that definitely required a lot of knowledge on the. I also don't have a knowledge on Kubernetes, but I am enough lucky to get a chance to work on setting up the Flex gateway for one of the customer, and like I learn all those things there, and just try,
Hmm,
try to share same thing with all others.
that's awesome. Well, there is
Yeah.
one question: is each replica a point 0.5 core?
Yeah, no, like point 0.5 core, you have one option where like you can just reduce that. By default, it's a 500 micro cores basically, which is divided by 100, like 1000. If you do divide by 100, it comes around zero point 0.5 cores basically, right? But you can reduce it. You can make it also zero point 0.1, like 100, 100 micro cores, or like 200 micro cores. You can do that. But don't worry, like Flex gateway licensing is not on the basis of course, but you need to apply, like even like licensing not on the basis of course, right? But still you need to apply the CPU, right? To any services, right? So that is what you are doing it.
Initial session was easy. The Docker one, I know.
Don't worry, like is it right now I don't see there's an option for OpenShift, right, Alex, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, no, not yet, but that may be coming. I'm not sure. I know that Red Hat, I think, is coming eventually, maybe like by this year, but I don't know about OpenShift to be honest. Is mutual TLS supported?
Yeah, it's supported. Like you make use of that ingress.yaml file. Within that you can set up everything, like ingress.supported. I don't have a time, right? Otherwise I have shown you till other, it will take other 15-20 minutes. So you will again you will get lost again. Like it's a complex like concept, but it's supported basically. So you can play with your ingress.yaml, which we have done, like which we have applied on your like Flex gateway, right? You can play with that particular file and you can enable the TLS and TLS. Everything is possible.
Do you have any articles on mutual TLS?
I will write it. I will
Okay,
write it one article. Yeah.
awesome. Alrighty, any more questions before we finish this session? But yes, I am totally same as Shampa. The Docker one was way easier. That's why I always use Docker. It's just so easy to do.
Don't worry. I will write step by step article what we have done. So it will. Yeah, you just make sure like you have a basic knowledge of the Kubernetes, like what is all this ingress, ingress.yaml, and those commands and everything. That knowledge you should have it. Otherwise, definitely it's tough. In Docker, you don't have to run a lot of commands, right? But here it's Kubernetes, it's running all about commands, kubectl commands. You should know the kubectl command.
Alrighty, sounds good. Well, we are out of time. I don't see any more questions. So let's wrap it up. Oh, yes, there's another question. Is there any way to automate the deployment of an API into Flex Gateway through
Yes,
CI/CD?
I think you can there's a support for Anypoint CLI. You can make use of that to do the automation.
Correct. Awesome. So, yes, just to do some housekeeping, recordings are in twitch.tv/MuleSoft community. This recording will be there in a few minutes. Maybe wait if you don't see it right away. You can also follow us on LinkedIn